Well, kids, welcome to our very first episode of Rimshots with Sean on Eastlink Community TV. I have with me the one, the only, Mr. Dave Roberts. How are you, sir?
Peace. I'm good.
So we
You?
did this a couple of weeks ago, but we didn't do it properly, so we're going to do it again. We're here to talk about Trunk Seven, and this has become, I would say, one of the focal festivals in the province. It takes place every year. Obviously, it had the COVID pause, we'll call it. But tell us a little bit about Trunk Seven.
Well, we've been doing this since 2015 with 2 years off for the pandemic. And it's been going great for us out here. We've had some amazing artists out here. We really have. We try to focus on local acts. We definitely try to focus on Nova Scotian acts. And we also have a program running that focuses on kids too, our youth from this area and in the Halifax, Dartmouth area as well.
So, location, I guess we'll call it venue change this year from where you've done it in the past. But tell our viewers, because there'll be a lot of people that have gone to past ones and they want, I want to make sure they get to the right location this year. So, where are you at this year?
Yeah, we've had it down at the Peace Park in Musquodoboit Harbor, and unfortunately things didn't go financially the way we want it. It's a great spot, and I love the venue there, but we decided to move a little closer to the city, and we're up in Porter's Lake now. And we started that last year, and that worked fabulous. It worked great. We got people from the city out. We got people from the Porter's Lake Lake Echo area out. We got people from our regulars from the Musquodoboit Harbor, the Jadors, the down as far as Ship Harbor and Tangier, and as far as Sheet Harbor. And we do try to cater to everybody on the Eastern Shore. Trunk Seven, hence Trunk Seven, which
I was going to ask you. It's like we rehearsed this. So the name of the festival, and it's very key to location, to what it is. So tell us how you guys came up with that name and what it means to the festival.
Well, it means a lot to the festival because the Trunk Seven Highway is the original highway when my great grandfather was down here, and my grandfather actually he was like the highways guy down here. So when one political party got in, he ran the show with all the trucks. And then if you had another election and different political party got in, all those trucks had to go across the harbor to someone else. I won't mention names or parties, but that's how crazy it was. But the Trunk Seven festival, Trunk Seven starts in like Dartmouth, down by the that new development that they have down there where the old the Star skate place used to be.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Up in there. It started there and it comes all the way down here. It runs down to Sherbrooke, and then it heads north and goes as far as Antigonish. That is the original Trunk Seven Highway. So it meant a lot to us, and I think it's a neat. Plus, it's kind of a neat thing to have.
No, absolutely, and like and we talked about this when we talked about it before, but here we are in Eastlink Community TV, so we're about to expose the festival to a whole other audience. It's I'm guessing it's something you guys had an idea to do it, and it was like it probably started with humble beginnings, and like anything, it kind of exponential growth, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, we need volunteers, we need this, that. Was that pretty much the growth trajectory for this event?
That is how it started. It started with a group of teachers and educators down here, and then from there we just built onto it, and exactly, it's grown exponentially every year, and we're just thrilled to be part of it. And the committee that we have is a great committee too. We got people from different walks of life, and there are educators, there's all kinds of different folks, and there's musicians, so we do draw from a great group of volunteers. We've got a group of that 40 to 45 volunteers all told together that put this, and of course it's a nonprofit organization, so we don't make any money here, and Lord knows we don't make very any money here. Just take a look at my visa statements.
Yeah, well, and it's a good point that you mentioned that, right? Because it's these things are, you want to do them for the good time, you want to do them for the community, but at the end of the day, freight's got to be paid. Like, you can't expect people to show up and play for nothing and work for nothing. And people do have to understand it's a business per se. That's, I think people see it on the outside, like, oh, it's a good time. They don't need to make money, and that's not the case.
Yeah. Well, we get a lot of help from different levels of government. We get a lot of help from the group of people right here. We got a great volunteer coordinator there on our committee. Crystal's great, and she really taps people. She grabs them and she gets money out of them. But thank you to all the local businesses that get involved in this. And I think people out here really they really understand that that's an important event for the community, musically and culturally. So they buy in, and they're great. And but there's different levels of government. We have all the levels of government we use that give us a hand in some way, whether it's monetary or with other types of odds and ends. So we're fortunate.
So now that we top of your memory, the Snappy logo was created by
Jeff Quigley did this.
Yeah.
Jeff.
And that's a brand, man. It's like, I look at it, it's a combination highway sign, because I was in the sign business for years. It could look like a shield of some sort. But really, it's really important for the branding.
You do have to have a good brand, and we do try to focus on that. But it's without Jeff's brilliant work, we wouldn't have it. And I think it makes sense for our festival and for our area.
So you mentioned supporting local, and I would be way offside, pardon the hockey pun, if I didn't mention how many talented people are down in your neck of the woods. I mean, I've grown up with so many people and played with so many people that are down, Lake Echo, Porter's Lake, Ecum Seacum. What do you think it is that causes so much talent to take place down there?
I don't know. I think a lot of rural. I think rural areas, you might not have as many things to do as you do in an urban area. So you're probably likely to find other interests and go at them pretty hard. And we had a guy that worked with us years ago, Kim Fowley, the infamous Kim Fowley, and he had a theory. His theory was that the biggest bands, and he always included the Beatles from Liverpool, the biggest bands seem to come from smaller places. So maybe there's something to that. I don't know. Where people in rural areas they're looking for stuff to do. But we got an amazing amount of talent down here.
I wouldn't disagree with that. We're going to go pay some bills here, Dave, on Eastlink Community TV, and we're going to be back after this with Mr. Dave Roberts.
Excellent.
Welcome back to, dare I say, Rimshots with Sean and Eastlink Community TV with Mr. Dave Roberts. Before we go back to Trunk 7, Dave, I was talking to a friend of mine about you the other day, and I said that I'm going to get involved with Dave. We're going to do some writing for Michelle's record and that type of thing. They made the comment, and I just kind of snickered. They said, Dave Roberts is the guy who, you get these Canadian Idols and American Idols. He's the one guy that should have blown up into the stratosphere that, for whatever reason, music, she's a cruel mistress. But, everybody talks about you, and they always talk about the voice, and they talk about, obviously, your sense of humor and that type of thing. But you've been singing for a long time. You still sound great. Do you still love it as much as you always have?
I do enjoy playing. We don't play all that much. The Blueberry Grunt Band plays the odd thing, and it's specific stuff. I like trying. I like to think that we've kind of moved out of the way a little bit, so that there's room for other people to come in, and in such a competitive and such a strange market. As you know, it's not the market that we played in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s. It's not the same market. So I think it's essential for young bands to be able to get out and play. And there's great spots to play. There's not as many as there used to be. You have like Monty's, for instance, and other spots in any area here. But it's not like it used to be. That's for sure.
Well, it's like we rehearse this because you mentioned the youth component, and obviously that's a big part of, you got into kind of the educational world, and you coached hockey, but you started working with some kids out there on music, and you've rolled that into Trunk 7. What I guess when you're working with these kids now, because it can be frustrating. I know I can get frustrated on a daily basis. You see, social media. It looks like everybody's life's amazing in social media. You got to pull it back. What are some of the things that you're kind of imparting on these kids now? And how to maneuver the business, if you will.
Well, first off, we got to, as I was mentioning our committee before, we got a great committee with educators, music teachers. Nick Pettipaw, my buddy, works with us, and he's got Marine Drive talent, so he's part of this whole effort to boost youth on Eastern Shore and wherever we can really work with them. But I think you need to impose upon them that you need to. It's so cliche, but be yourself in a world where people are always looking at other things or looking at themselves and stuff. Be yourself, have your own image, have your own style of music, and be true to it. And that's the kind of thing that we try to preach to these kids. Doesn't matter if it's country, if it's rock, if it's hip hop, if it's jazz. That be true to what you believe in, and I don't think you can't go wrong. You might not become a rock and roll star, you might not become a worldwide star, but you will be true to yourself. And we always try to focus on that. Be true to yourself, and you're going to enjoy it. See where it goes.
Great point, because I think, certainly when I was coming up, the lore of trying to become a rock star was there, and probably would, when you came up, the same thing. I think now more than ever there's that heightened sense of, like, kids today, I just find there's so many things to compare themselves to, and it's instant gratification. We talked about this the last time, like we can be playing a gig and my mistake can be posted on the internet before the song's even finished, right? There's so much of that going on, and it's, you nailed it. Be true to yourself. If something happens, great. If it doesn't, that's fine too.
Yeah. And thank God that years ago there wasn't the same type of media and stuff. Thank goodness for that.
Well, but here's the funny thing now. It's like, here we are, 30 some odd years later, and I'm seeing all these Titan videos that I never saw before being posted on YouTube, and, you guys playing Zapatas and all these places.
I saw this. I was looking at going, I don't even know where's this from?
Right.
I mean, I don't even know, but interesting to see that. But like I said, you didn't have a camera in a film studio on your phone because you didn't even have a phone.
Right.
And maybe that's a good thing. I always say that about, like, sports stars too. You always go back and look at the sports guys. Ooh, it's a good thing they didn't have cameras then.
Maybe it's funny because you get the Habs logo.
I don't know.
Well, you got the Habs logo in the back. And a couple of weeks ago, I was watching it was a game, the famous Don Cherry, where he's standing up, the too many men on the ice, and LaFleur goes down and snipes that goal. And if you roll the camera back and you look at, 15, 20 seconds, Larry Robinson is sitting on a guy in a corner, just punching him in the face in front of the ref, and there's no call. Now you blow somebody, and it's like you get 2 minutes and maybe another two for arguing. The game has changed so much, right? But you see it, everything's instant. Everything's instant.
It's crazy. We're watching the playoffs last night. We're sitting back saying, "Oh my God, is it us? Is the refereeing bad, or are we just seeing absolutely every angle that you can possibly see?" And these poor guys are trying to officiate a game that's like 270 miles an hour, and they're doing their best they can. So, exactly.
It's so fast. And okay, you know what? I had a little thing on my wall. We'll get off to hockey after this. The Leafs game the other night, the high stick on O'Reilly. So he's one of the guys, he's grandfathered, so he doesn't wear the visor. So it was 2 for the high stick and 2 for the cut. And the question on Sports Show was, should it be an extra 2 if he's not wearing the visor? Your 2 cents?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, just like the helmets were. Yeah, whether you wear a helmet or not, which was priceless. But I don't know. That's a very tricky question. When one guy's going to get 4 and the other guy's going to get 2.
It's a tough one. And you know what? I kind of, it's good that they're wearing helmets, but I miss the days of Ron Duguay flying down the ice with the hair just to go on, right? It was like John Bon Jovi playing for the New York Rangers. It was amazing.
It was good.
We've got a little over a minute for this segment. In terms of your acts, and I know you guys have a lot of them, what's your process, and how do you guys pick them, and how do you get them in there? Because that in itself can be a challenge.
It's a lot. It's a lot of work. There's so many acts. There's so many people contact us and want to play, and you can't get everybody in there. You just can't. Sometimes you can't financially fit it in, or you can't afford it. Sometimes there's no slot there for that person. You want to do it. So we try to get as many different people that we can every year. This year's not that different from last year. But we still have a number of new acts in there coming in there that I'm pretty happy about. Do you want to talk about them or wait till the next
Well, we'll do that in the next segment because, hey, we're almost done, and we're going to take a little break here on Eastlink Community TV. And when we come back, I do want to talk about some of those acts because there's some good ones. We're back after this. Well, welcome back to Rimshots with Sean and Eastlink Community TV. That has a nice ring to it. I'm very excited to be here. Great deal. And just before our last break, we were talking about the acts and what have you. Name some of the folks that you're going to see at Trunk 7 this year.
Oh, the lineup this year is fabulous. It's really good. We're on July 21st and July 22nd. On the 21st, it's kind of our rock and roll night, sort of, I would say. We got starting off with Zephyr. We have Stone Brother. We got the Volts, the Royal Volts. I still call them the Volts, the Royal Volts, and finishing up with the Stanfields, which is always fabulous. The Stanfields, I got to mention this because thank you to Shorewater Septic Diagnosis and Design and Freedom Self Storage, because they're responsible for us having the Stanfields this year. Thank you, guys. So that's going to be a great Friday night. Saturday is we're starting at 12, and we're going to start off with local group Wandering Souls, and then we get into our youth portion. Our youth, our Marine Drive Talent Youth Showcase is what we're calling it, and there's kids from all over the area. There's Dartmouth, there's Muscat Albert Harbor, there's far down is nearly Sheet Harbor, all over the place. All kinds of great kids that are just, they're fabulous. They're really good. That's going to be from like 1 to 4. We have a number of different local acts. My son is probably going to put a little set in there. Stephanie Anderson, Avery Anderson. Then we're going to get in with, we get Foggy Road, a local group that everybody loves them out here. They're great. Zach and his buddies. And then we have Brooklyn Blackmore. And she's a great country artist. That's all I can say. She has great tunes. She's got a great personality, and she's got the energy for whatever wherever she's headed, she's got the energy for it. Then we got Lindsay Meisner and a Seventh Mystic. Oh, baby. Have you seen those guys?
I have not.
I hope you can get out. First off, I hope you can get out.
It's going to be my goal to get out there this year, no question.
Well, I'm going to be bugging you about that, but they're a fabulous act, and they cook. They just do. Lindsay's got a great voice. She's Janis Joplin. I don't want to peg her in that because that's not fair, but she is fabulous, and the band is fabulous. They're just a great act. And we're finishing the night off with Charlie Acourt.
Oh.
And I love Charlie. He's a mainstay in Atlantic Canada music industry, and he's got a great voice. The tunes are great. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's on Saturday. But we've had a lot of great acts. We had amazing acts. I mean, I can't go through them all. Michaela Lynn. We've had Joel Plaskett, Mo Kenny, Andre Pettipaw and the Giants, one of my favorite rock bands in the province. Renee Smith, we had. She's fabulous. Jim Enman. Miles Goodwin's going to be in the Canadian Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Can you imagine?
Tonight.
Only now is Miles Goodwin. I mean,
well, you know what? You bring up a good point because, I mean, so this is going to be on, when we're taping this, it's going to be on a few weeks down the road, but the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame announced their newest inductees, and there's a bit of an uproar because, people are like, it doesn't really seem rock and roll. My whole thing is if there's got to be a Hall of Fame, and I guess there should be, maybe it should be the Music Hall of Fame, because, I mean, like, the people that work hard to get in there kind of have to get the brunt of all this kind of furor, and they don't really deserve it. But at the same time, maybe they're not rock and roll. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, there you go. Miles is like just getting in.
Tough one. It's a tough one because it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So Should it all be rock music? Should it be metal? Should it be, it's so hard to tell. I personally like the Rock and Roll Hall
Yep.
of Fame,
Yep.
but I personally like this year. I took a look at the people that are involved there that they're looking at putting in. Are they rock and roll artists? No, but they're fabulous artists.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure. Maybe they need just a hall, as you said, just a Hall of Fame, and put the massive ones in, regardless of the people that transcend genre. I always say, somebody always called it can you play some country music? Well, we don't play much country music, but you play Johnny Cash, don't you? Well, we could throw in some Johnny Cash. Is Johnny Cash a country and Western, or does Johnny Cash transcend?
Right.
And I think he does. And I think there's a lot of artists in those other groups that the names there that you look at. Some of my favorite artists are there. Chaka Khan is there. She's spectacular.
Yep.
I love her.
Yep.
And of course she's an R&B artist, but some of these artists, they just transcend definition. They're just so good. Maybe you need a Hall of Fame for those people.
And certainly, like your hockey, if you're good Canadian boys, like we are, you're passionate about the game and passionate about your team, and people are passionate about their genre of music, right? There's no question, and that's fine. That's really good. I just, on the one hand, I was agreeing with, it doesn't really fit, but on the other hand, hey, those people worked hard. They sold some records. They obviously made some people happy because there's a fan vote component that's very important. So anyway, different story. We're not going to figure it out here today, Dave, but
No,
as we're winding this down, so you're planning in period for Trunk 7, and I had Jason McCorson from Riverfest is going to be on another show.
Nice.
Jason's also my producer, but they gear up the whole year. They do the thing. It happens. And then there's kind of like, it's like Christmas. What just happened? And you're both happy and you're sad that it's over, but then there's a resting time and then it's right back. It's like you're on a treadmill, right? Is that a fair statement?
You're on a treadmill. I immediately, after the festival, which, as you know, doesn't end on Saturday night.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff to take down. There's a lot of things to tie up. But as soon as everything is taken down, the venue is clear, it's clean. We're getting a good bill of health for that. And we put a little bit of paperwork out of the way. I go camping. I have to. I go camping.
Absolutely.
I just sit there. Sometimes I go golfing. I love to golf. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just sit there with a bottle of Jack Daniels and sit there and pour it, put some cubes in there and just sit and go, oh, God, that was a lot.
I seem to remember I got a picture of you with a bottle of Jack Daniels golfing. So you're putting them both in the same thing.
Some things go together,
Absolutely. To find one. All right, here we go. We got, I'm going to say 20 seconds. Where do my viewers here on Eastlink Community TV find out about Trunk 7? How do they get their tickets? Where do they go?
Tickets are on Ticket Pro. You can go to our website, trunk7musicfestival.com. We got all of our social media is up and running. It's in Porter's Lake beside the Superstore, July 21st and 22nd. It's going to be awesome. And please come out. Please come out and support if you're from the area. And if you're not from the area, come on out and get some good old-fashioned Eastern Shore hospitality. And listen, I'm going to wish you the best of luck with all of your endeavors. But with this show on the on Darby Cable, enjoy it.
Thank you so much. And Dave Robert, always one of my favorites. Thanks for tuning in on Eastlink Community TV. We'll see you next time, folks.